Making history's only a game away. England take on Italy in the final of the Euros tomorrow night, and it's all live here on ITV from 6:30. Right now, the latest ITV News.
On the edge of glory, the England team count down to face Italy at Wembley in their first major final in 55 years.
We know how much the game means for us as players, but also for the nation.
Meanwhile, England fans make their preparations to watch the Euros showdown.
We've got 3 screens set up, we've got kegs galore, also it's going to be a pretty big day, we're ready.
Also, NHS staff may soon not need the COVID app, but it's possible pub goers will to prove they've been vaccinated. And
First goes forward, he might make it 3. He has!
What was it like watching the last England final?
Absolutely nail-biting, and I hope this next one will be equally exciting.
This is ITV News with Andrea Byrne.
Good evening. It's a little more than 24 hours until England's men play Italy in what promises to be a momentous European Championship final at Wembley. It's been more than 5 decades since the team have secured a place in a major tournament final. There can't be many who don't know that the last time it happened was in the 1966 World Cup, with England in the end victorious. But how can they repeat that feat tomorrow? The key, according to the players at least, is courage. Our sports editor Steve Scott reports now on the countdown to history.
One final workout ahead of the main event. The next time they kick a ball in anger will be at Wembley. The prize on offer to be crowned European champions and win England's first international silverware since 1966. If they find the prospect daunting, you can't tell by looking at them.
Special times, huge opportunity. The lads have done fantastically well to get to this point, so we just need to continue what we've been doing, keep building, keep improving every game and go out there and give it absolutely everything on Sunday.
This is England's night.
The semi-final win against Denmark was tough. Italy, many people's team of the tournament so far, will be even tougher.
When the players walk out of here tomorrow, they'll be doing something no England team has done for 55 years. But while the rest of the country is working itself into a frenzy before kick-off, they'll be attempting to do exactly the opposite. They'll be trying to stay calm, to treat it like any other game of football when, quite clearly, it is anything but. Bukayo Saka's performances so far have been a revelation. He might still be a teenager, but he knows just what it will take to come out on top on Sunday.
I think it's courage. We know how much the game means for us as players, but also for the nation. And yeah, it can make people nervous, but I think, yeah, courage is the most important thing because everyone in our team is amazing, has so much quality, and if they show the courage when they play and show their qualities, you know, we'll have a big chance of winning.
England have now left their base camp for the last time and are heading, no doubt, for a sleepless night in their hotel on the outskirts of London. At the same time, Italy have arrived at their eve of match accommodation, bringing with them a staggering run of form, unbeaten in 33 matches. The stage is dressed, now we await the final act, unscripted drama that will no doubt change some lives forever. Steve Scott, ITV News, Wembley.
While the England team focus on their training and mental preparation, the fans are also getting themselves ready too. Beer and food are being stocked up at homes across the country, while pubs, restaurants and fan zones are hoping for their best day's takings since the pandemic began. Dan Rivers reports.
Is it coming on? It's coming on! It's coming on!
In Billericay today, the party was already getting started before the biggest match England's faced in 55 years. Final preparations are underway, and among this stag do anyway, confidence seems high.
Are you more nervous for England tomorrow or marrying the missus next Friday?
Good question.
Good question.
Man, the missus next Friday.
Come on, England!
At the other end of the country on Tyneside, Dougie's Tavern is braced for the busiest night of the year after what has been an extremely challenging 12 months.
It's give the staff more hours, more income, and everybody's got a little kick in their step and they're happy. It's brilliant.
In County Durham, the surge in patriotism has reinvigorated this flag manufacturer, which had been closed for 6 months.
We've seen a massive demand, far more than usual. I think that people just need something to celebrate. Even people that don't like football are putting banners and bunting and flags outside the house, and they're behind their country.
This was the scene on the South Bank in central London for the semi-final on Wednesday. Tomorrow they're hoping for an even bigger celebration.
It's going to be a pretty big day where it's a lot of anticipation. We sold out all the tickets in about 10 minutes time. We've got 3 screens set up. We've got kegs galore. Also, it's going to be a pretty big day. We're ready.
England superfan Tom Salmon only found out he had a ticket for the final yesterday. Now he's planning his build-up to a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
It's going to be nervous. I'm going to make sure I go to the cafe tomorrow morning, have a big breakfast, hopefully settle some nerves. Meet up with my friends, and hopefully we can chat about other things rather than football, to just take our minds off it and take the nerves away from it.
England might not expect, but England hopes finally the long wait might be over. Dan Rivers, ITV News.
Back now to Steve Scott at Wembley. Steve, what do you think the mood is likely to be amongst the England players on the eve of such a momentous game?
Yeah, I think there's bound to be a few nerves flying around, especially among those who've already been told that they will be starting the match tomorrow. But we'll get a much clearer picture of what the mood in the camp is like a little bit later on, because the captain, Harry Kane, and Gareth Southgate, the manager, are due to give their final media conference ahead of the game tomorrow. But if we know Gareth Southgate, we know that he will be trying his best to keep everybody calm, using that approach that he's used right the way through the tournament, an approach that's helped England progress as far as they have. As far as the players are concerned, probably an early meal tonight, maybe more discussions about Italy's strengths and weaknesses, and then the best thing to do is to try and get as much sleep as you possibly can this evening, which in some cases might be quite a tall order, I think.
Yes, if possible. Steve Scott at Wembley Stadium, thank you. In other news, the government is considering exempting NHS staff in England from isolating if they're contacted by test and trace if they have already had both jabs. Health bosses are urging the change as case numbers soar and staff shortages are already being seen. At the same time, there are reports the government is once again considering requiring so-called COVID passports for entry into pubs, bars and restaurants. Our political correspondent Daniel Hewitt has the details.
As NHS hospitals brace for the lifting of COVID restrictions and with it COVID patients, the big worry is having enough staff to treat them. As infection rates continue to rise, so too are the number of medics being forced to self-isolate by test and trace. The government is being asked to consider making them exempt to avoid a widespread staffing crisis ahead of July the 19th's unlocking.
It's very striking how many trusts are saying at the moment that they are really struggling. They're very busy on full pelt to recover the care backlogs, record levels of urgent care demand, rising levels of COVID hospitalisations, and therefore just at the point when you need large numbers of staff, we're finding that significant numbers are self-isolating. So it is a real problem.
From August the 16th, people who are fully vaccinated in England will no longer be required to self-isolate if traced as a COVID contact. Ministers are looking at bringing that forward for double-jabbed NHS staff, with some trusts warning up to 20% of their workforce could be forced to stay at home if the rules aren't changed sooner.
Where I work in intensive care, we've had difficulty staffing beds, and that's made it very difficult. As the situation gets worse, yes, we could find more significant problems, and it's already very hard to keep the hospital staffed.
And with self-isolation rules look set to change, so too could the policy on so-called COVID passports. To limit a surge in COVID cases later this autumn, the government isn't ruling out plans to make people prove they are double jabbed before entering hospitality venues. But this restaurant owner fears it'll be another job for her struggling staff to take on.
Kind of be like a school teacher and ask someone to kind of do something that they may not necessarily believe in and put the onus on the team. It takes extra time, it's extra effort, puts people in an uncomfortable position sometimes. So put an onus on us that's kind of bigger than what we're about is challenging.
But it's hoped COVID certificates could encourage people to get the jab. In 9 days' time, with the legal limits on our lives all but gone, the vaccine will be all the protection we have. Daniel Hewitt, ITV News.
The National Crime Agency has arrested a man suspected of running an international network smuggling people into the UK. Gul Jabakal from Afghanistan is suspected of organising the transport of illegal migrants from France and Belgium in the backs of lorries. He's been charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to facilitate illegal immigration. The son of the former champion boxer Chris Eubank has died days before his 30th birthday. Sebastian Eubank was found dead yesterday in Dubai, where he lived with his wife and baby son. And the FA have been fined £26,000 for fan violations at England's semi-final against Denmark. A laser was shone at Denmark's goalkeeper. There was booing during Denmark's national anthem, and fireworks were set off in the stands. At Wimbledon, Ash Barty is the first Australian woman to win the singles title in more than 40 years. Barty held off a comeback by the Czech Republic's Karolina Pliskova to win in 3 sets this afternoon. She was presented with her trophy by the Duchess of Cambridge, who was watching from the royal box with Prince William. It's Barty's second Grand Slam title after the 2019 French Open. Finally, by the end of tomorrow, there will be more than 65,000 people who will know what it's like to watch in person as England play in an international final. But today, the number who have done so is far smaller. Just those who were at the old Wembley Stadium on July the 30th, 1966. Chloe Keedy has been to speak to some of them about their memories of that day and what England can expect tomorrow.
It was just unbelievable. The fact that England won was magnificent, but the atmosphere created by the crowd, for the players, it must have been absolutely amazing.
Arthur will be back at Wembley tomorrow. The last time he saw England play in the final of a major tournament, he was only 19. He still has his programme and the stub of his ticket, which he bought for the princely sum of £3.15.
What are your real standout memories from that day?
The national anthem, the fact that Bobby Moore was able to pick the cup up directly from the Queen.
There he is, Geoff Hurst. It was Hurst who scored a hat-trick that day, although his second goal, scored in extra time, has caused controversy to this day.
We could see that it was over the line. It was definitely a goal.
You can clear that one up for us.
I won't have anybody say it wasn't a goal, even after 55 years.
When he scored the 4th goal, I was behind that goal when he scored the 4th goal, and I mean, everybody just erupted because obviously last minute 4-2 we'd won.
Roger Homer is hoping to see that moment recreated when he goes to Wembley tomorrow with his grandson.
One of my biggest memories was coming out of the ground, the whole crowd coming out of the ground singing "E.I. Adio, we've won the cup."
Saturday the 30th.
Caroline Cooper was 24 when she went to the final and is the first to admit that her diary entry from that day doesn't quite do it justice.
Straight home afterwards at 7, washed hair, Chinese meal in Soho. People celebrating football victory, 2 exclamation marks.
Working as a part-time tour guide, she went to Wembley that day with a group of Argentinian football fans.
I mean, it was my first ever football match, so by 90 minutes I'd sort of got the hang of what was going on.
So was it nail-biting?
Absolutely nail-biting.
Caroline says she'd like another nail-biter tomorrow and, of course, another win. Chloe Keedy, ITV News.
What memories. And that's it. So I'm back with the late news just after 10:30. Until then, good evening.